Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this wonderful Wednesday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update with yours truly. And if you are new around here and finding yourself on the channel for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening in the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that is exactly what we intend to do in this video. First of all, let me thank each and every one of you that subscribed to the channel for getting us over that 90,000 subscriber mark. We are soon on track to hit 100,000 subscribers. And I think we are going to start doing some stuff with charities in regards to giving back for your support. We'll announce a lot more on that later on down the line. But let's stick on the topic of the cryptocurrency market, and we've got quite a lot to cover. Even though it seems on the surface like quite a lackluster news day, there's lots of things going on underneath the surface, and we've been continuing to show you guys that despite retail's lack of participation, we continue to see institutions betting on the cryptocurrency space, whether that be through the ETFs in the United States, whether that be through the ETPs across the sort of world more broadly, largely in Europe. Or we're going to show you an interesting one today, whether that be people aping in to a leveraged long MicroStrategy, which is essentially a Bitcoin holding company, ETF. And yesterday, we saw $50 million flow into this, which means people are betting. I would bet more of an institutional grade of people on this just being a pullback for Bitcoin and it rearing its head and going higher. Also, technically, that's signaled. We're then going to be talking about Tether. Tether has to be one of the greatest companies of all time. It has a handful of employees and makes more money than most US banks. I mean, what an amazing business idea. You've got to take your hats off to them. I do think Tether is going to lose dominance to perhaps a United States-backed company like Ripple, perhaps, that issue their own real USD and ultimately use stable coins to sort of stave off the debt crisis and buy up a lot of debt and further the United States dollar more broadly across the world, but that's for an entirely other video. But we're going to be looking at some news from Tether because Tether are planning on deploying a UAE currency. Now we'll be taking a look at the market cap of USDT and the crypto market. It's very tethered, and this is ultimately going to pump more liquidity into the markets. We'll talk about USDT dominance, just to make that clear. And then we'll be talking a bit more about the macro. One of the major macro drivers, and I did, in my opinion, an amazing update for Patreon yesterday, where we spent an hour looking at why we're bullish, what the plan is, and correlating everything together from macro cycles, cyclical cycles, into what the driver of these cycles is going to be, into technically how the markets are looking, generally taking it right the way down to the cryptocurrency market. The Patreon fee is worth that one video because it's going to give you a real sigh of relief. So do go and check the Patreon, link in the description. We'll be talking about the dollar and we'll be talking about why that's going to be a major driver for liquidity and how actually the DXY and the dollar strength has always been correlated with Bitcoin, and it's very much rolling as we speak. I'm going to continue to roll to the lower band of our channel that we continue to highlight. That's ultimately going to see Bitcoin do well like it historically has done. It's going to align with global liquidity cycles, Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, election cycles, PMI cycles, and everything in between. Of course, we've got Jackson Hole on today, I believe, actually. So it's the Fed minutes today. So we'll talk about all of that. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into it. Let's start things off with Eric Balanchunas. This guy, we should be giving him some kickback in regards to how much we mention him on this channel. Great guy to follow. Also recently started watching The Walking Dead, pretty much at the same time he did. Hadn't previously watched it. Amazing. I feel like there's such garbage out there now on TV because they think people are so dumb that it doesn't really matter what they show them. They'll just watch it mindlessly. But The Walking Dead has such an amazing storyline. But anyway, where am I going? All in. Bring yourself back to the topic at hand. The hot sauce arm race continues as Defiance launches a minus 1.5 MicroStrategy ETF tomorrow. Going to be interesting to see the inflows into this. I would argue they're not going to be that high. So minus, it's basically a leverage short ETF on MicroStrategy, which will be one of the most volatile ETFs ever, but a touch less than the top dog, MST X, which is a 1.75 long MicroStrategy, which, by the way, has traded a record $50 million today. So this being yesterday. Who the hell is buying a leveraged long MicroStrategy ETF? It's not retail, guys. I'm afraid. It's not retail. It's institutions. So they're betting on the price of MicroStrategy going up. MicroStrategy made an earlier target that we had down here, which got you here. This is a strong uptrending chart, and it's likely going to go higher. And MicroStrategy really is a barometer for Bitcoin. So what we can derive from this, remember Bitcoin in a very strong uptrend. This is just a corrective phase, a descending corrective phase in what is an uptrending market. Bit of a pennant going on here that I think you could actually squeeze to the upside of. You always get these periods of consolidation, kind of sharp after a sell-off, after a volatile event. One of the most volatile events since March 2020 or 2008 in regards to what the VIX was showing us, very quickly came down. You often get these kind of spasms in macro markets, and actually for me they're just a buying opportunity. The stage is set, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second when we look at the dollar. But basically what we can derive from this is that institutions are betting on MicroStrategy, which means they're essentially betting on Bitcoin and this just being a pullback. MicroStrategy is an uptrend, Bitcoin is an uptrend, the space as a whole is in an uptrend. It's a very bullish sign, if you will. Lots of people out there, other content creators, really struggling for news on days like this. However, we know where to find it and what to look for. Let's talk a little bit about Tether. Again, I wish I'd thought about what Tether are doing. What an amazing business. A multi-billion dollar business, generates billions of dollars in income and has literally 4 or 5 staff. Hats off. And if anybody knows the Tether CEO, we'd love to interview him at any point. I can make myself readily available. So Tether plans to develop a stable coin pegged to the UAE currency. Now, in terms of the dirham, it's not, I think it's something like 23rd or 4th. I can't quite remember off the top of my head in regards to its size, market cap. However, what it is, in my opinion, is increased liquidity into the cryptocurrency space. You also have Phoenix Group also looking to do a similar thing. Now, this is relevant because we know in the Japanese candlesticks we have Tether market cap, so the size of Tether's market cap, and we have Bitcoin. And you can see the correlation here, guys. There is a stark one. And actually, this is another currency being brought into the fold that ultimately is going to provide liquidity for Bitcoin. You know, I can't believe Tether has a $117 billion market. That's larger than most companies out there. In awe of them, I truly am an entrepreneur myself, and I admire what they've done. And I do think, really Tether increasing in market cap kind of led many of these legs, and I think we could be onto a similar thing. So this is very interesting. Also on Tether dominance in terms of its market share of the overall market goes up in a bear, down in a bull. This is very much topped, and we actually have lower targets for Tether in terms of dominance, which supports where we think Bitcoin's going. Obviously, Bitcoin looks like the adverse of this somewhat, and so on and so forth. So very interesting news to come out of Tether. Another kind of win, small win for the crypto space, but it's likely going to see liquidity. Let's talk about some macro-y stuff. So crypto has found itself very tethered to the macro markets, and the largest driver of the macro markets is, of course, the Federal Reserve, who essentially manipulate global liquidity via strengthening and weakening their currency. And they do that not only through interest rates, through quantitative easing, and a number of other things. So when the dollar is strong, and we'll use Bitcoin, but risk generally doesn't do too well. So strong dollar, markets down. Strong dollar, markets down. Again, just show you this a little bit more. Strong dollar, markets down. Strong dollar, markets down. Weak dollar, markets up. Weak dollar, markets up, or bull market. Weak dollar, markets up. And we are coming down, in my opinion. Not only do we have technical targets on the DXY to take us to 97.5, and we also have this macro kind of channel that you've been in since 2008, that it's logical, for no other reason really, than it's very logical that you're going to come down to this lower band. We also know that's signaled in regards to rates. Rates are really the driver predominantly of, certainly at the moment, of the dollar's strength. You've got to think fundamentally, right? If the dollar's strong, that means people are going into dollars and typically out of markets. If the dollar's weak, people are going out of dollars into markets, and crypto is going to be the fastest horse in that race. Again, do join the Patreon, guys. First thing you need to do is go and watch yesterday's update at yesterday's meeting. Brilliant update. The yen is a great example of when a central bank, the great manipulators of liquidity, strengthen their currency, the markets adjust. Okay, the Nikkei is a short, and there's so much alpha in that saying. The Nikkei is a short yen trade. Nikkei up on the back end of yen down. Nikkei strength on them doing this crazy second time they've ever done an interest rate hike since 2007, I think. Sort of maneuver. And this is why they call the yen the widowmaker. You can see with that strength, markets readjusted. You're about to see the adverse of that take place with a DXY, and of course we're going to get news and clarity on that in regards to today with FOMC, and then of course we have Jackson Hole. So we have discussed, as always, a hell of a lot on this daily market update. There's never a dull moment, ladies and gentlemen. There really isn't. My job is very easy as a presenter, even when on the surface of things, it seems like a very lackluster day. And when you look at markets and how they're positioned, retail sentiment involvement is always like this. Public participation comes in the uptrend. And typically towards the end of it, once those institutions, that smart money has been accumulating, we showed you yet another example of smart money accumulating, or certainly taking a long position on the cryptocurrency space through MicroStrategy's 1.75 basis points, not basis points, or 175 basis points it would be, long ETF. That is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I will be sure to see you all tomorrow at exactly 1 p.m. UK time for another jam-packed daily market update. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Big thanks to each and every one of you supporting us. And that is it from me. Have a wonderful Wednesday, ladies and gents. I'll see you all in the next.